I've had one beer on an empty stomach, and I'm feeling like I'm on like 2 grams of shrooms. A detachment from the Matrix. An immersion in myself, my consciousness, not my ego. No ego here, just an observance of self, aware of how I feel and how I'm walking in a strange land. Strange land. And I'm looking at everything with its stillness and with its timeliness and with its knowing. And I'm sure it's looking and feeling at me the same way. You see, it doesn't take much, people, with a small shift in consciousness to get back into the realm of the gnomes and the elms. Now, one thing that I become quite adept at is recognizing varieties and species. And so here I just look at that and I go, well, seems to me that they are elm, and the way in which you distinguish an elm is you feel it. Oh my goodness, how rough it is. It's the roughest leaf that you could ever imagine. It's got like, listen, it's got like those spikes all over it. And this very, very serrated edge to the leaf is quite uncommon. And so yeah, you look around and you see, and I'm thinking, oh, this one here, this one seems to be hornbean. No, blackthorn. You know, with the little black berries it has, the little sloes. Yeah, and then look over here, and this one is a hawthorn. Let's see what else we can find whilst we're speaking about this. Rosewood. Dog rose. Rose hips. Yeah. I don't feel I'm me. It doesn't take long, you know. What I've noticed is that whenever I'm in the wilderness, I very, very quickly lean towards the feral. And if I went camping out in a wood, I'm pretty sure by the second day I would be acting very wild, and I would lose any notion of cleanliness. I would just become wild and basking and bathing in the dirt and in the moisture and in the heat and whatever it was, just being at one with it. Instead of fighting it, you see, people. That's all we do, isn't it, human beings? We're always fighting it, scrubbing away any semblance of the natural world. We get into our showers and our baths and we scrub away any residue of being a natural being. It wouldn't do to have a little bit of a pong from here or there. But whenever I've been out in the wilderness, there's a natural propensity for me just to go feral. Very, very quickly. Well, it's evident that I'm not attached to the Matrix. It's not my bag. It used to be. It's just not my bag anymore. It's so alien to me. But this really feels like home. And my heart is still. And my mind is still. And there's no consequences of the Matrix, of time. You've got to be here, you've got to do this. You've got an obligation for this, you've got an obligation for that. And there's a time for this, and there's a time for that. And then we call things breakfast and lunch and dinner and supper. It's just fucking eating, people. It's just eating. You eat when you fucking want. You eat when you're hungry. Why do we have to put times? And then if you said to somebody, hey, do you want a sandwich or do you want a beer? Oh, it's not time. It's not time for alcohol. It's not time for a bacon butty. Oh no. And they go like this. Oh no. With all these social conditions that they've had. Do they listen to their bodies? They don't listen to their bodies. They just look at the clock. And they call it tea time, and dinner time, and breakfast time, and bedtime, and all those other sorts of times. It's bizarre, to have one beer. And I don't really know whether it was the beer or whether it was just my natural emergence in the natural world, because I've been out in it now for a couple of hours. And when you're looking at things and you're immersed in it and you're foraging, you become one with it. And so that's when the whole aura starts to envelop you. And it's very bizarre how these days we live in two worlds. I mean, most people, they live in one world, the Matrix. But those of us that go out into the natural world, of course, there's a very, very distinct distinction. And so I'm going to go back to my beautiful apartment with everything I could conceivably need in it. Piping hot shower and oven and cooker and heating facilities and fridge and pantry and all that sort of stuff. So detached from our natural being of living off the land and hunting and having to be absolutely aware and connected. Can you imagine that level of connection when you have to be absolutely tuned in to the natural world? Because your life depends on it. And many things around you are potential food. And you cannot afford to let these opportunities pass you by. You have to take them in an instant. So that's why you have to have this awareness. And whenever you watch bushmen or jungle dwellers, and every time they're walking around, their senses are on red alert. They're not just walking through the jungles having the crack. No, if they walk through the jungle having the crack and telling jokes, well, there could be a monkey up in the tree which would, rapidly disappear when they could have acquired that for the evening meal. And so there's never a moment of dissociation from it. They're always absolutely associated and at one. We're not at one anymore, are we? We're fragmented. We are pulled in a myriad different directions till we don't have any notion of self, really. We don't know what the self is. You think the self is your job, your plumber, or your doctor. You think your purpose is your family or your latest project. But you've got no idea. Bizarre. Bizarre. So within my bag I've collected about 100 acorns. Every time I go past this oak tree, which is having a massed year, and this massed year apparently means a bumper year. There's thousands of acorns on this tree, and when they drop off over the path and the road, then some are run over by cars and they're cracked a little bit. It doesn't matter, because I'm just going to peel the shell away anyway, because I just want the nut. And others are just forced towards the curb or the gutter. So I gather them all up every time I cycle past, and I'm going to eat some myself, and I'm going to plant some. I've planted probably about 50 or 60 of these. So I'm growing all these oak trees, and then when they start to sprout, I'll plant them into bigger pots, and I'll have them in the house for 1 or 2 years until they get big and robust enough to go to plant outside. And then I'll choose where I'm going to plant them. On my rounds, I'll take a few trees out each day, and I'll put them in woods like this. And so I'm going to be eating those acorns. I'm going to be feeding them my family. Providence isn't keen on young acorns. I've seen other acorns, other squirrels, they'll eat them. But Providence, she's got a sweet tooth now, because she's only ever had the best. And so she'll have a little bit of a nibble, and then she'll very quickly discard it. And then she's checking my pockets for the goodies. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to extract the tannins from the acorns by immersing them in boiling water for as long as it takes before the tannins are visibly gone. Then I'm going to roast them slightly in the oven, and then I'll present them to my squirrel family, and I'm sure they'll find them very, very enjoyable, because the nut itself does actually taste quite pleasant, even with its bitterness. And so I'm pretty sure by the time the tannins are gone, the acorn nut will be quite a sought after delicacy, to be frank, people. And they're all, well, I wouldn't say they're all around, they're quite difficult to find, because most oak trees don't really have that much of an abundance. It's only the odd oak tree that has like a massed year where there are thousands on. And then of course you have to keep going back. Okay, what we've got down here. There we go. Oh! Oh! This little fella is not used to being mauled, are you? Hey? Well, what do you reckon of that? Human experience, hey? It's a human experience, that was. Not many frogs get that, Not many frogs get that. Anyway, people, hope you enjoyed these videos. Just a bit of Awake and Brave ruminating and rambling. Now,